Alex Padilla is my name, California Secretary of State currently, and a graduate of the Coro Los Angeles program in 1994 and 1995. Probably a couple of occasions when I figured out Coro was pretty special. First, even before going through the Coro program, how I heard about the Coro program from two very different people, sort of friends of friends from very, very different circles. As I was trying to figure out what to do next, graduating from college, if it wasn't going to be an engineering career for decades to come, to hear from two very different people, high marks about Coro, I knew immediately that was something I needed to look into. I think going through Coro and coming out of Coro, just the sheer exposure to leaders in different sectors throughout Los Angeles through the various interviews that we would do during the course of the fellowship program. I figured an organization that has the relationships, that have access to the key opinion leaders, the key decision makers in the second largest city in America, that in and of itself is also pretty special. Fond memories of my time in Coro, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that was frustrating for me at the end of Coro was the fact that I enjoyed every single assignment. And so I came out of Coro a little bit more confused than I went going in, trying to find my calling, trying to find my passion. Met a lot of great people along the way. Enjoyed our retreats, believe it or not. To be isolated out in the desert a couple times during the course of the year, a time out from the assignment hustle and bustle, but at a time where we can, days on end, try to digest what we were learning individually and from the rest of the group. That was a lot of fun, especially those late night movies after the activities were done. Probably more than anybody else, I'd have to thank Alan, our trainer. He always had either a response or a response by giving us a lack of a response, but that helped guide us, put us in the right direction of how to think and how to figure out and how to find an answer we were thinking through, whether it was in a group exercise or activity or just as an individual. When I think of Coro, I think Alan, I think of his advice and his lessons, and I can't imagine Coro any other way. I love it when people ask me, so what does Coro stand for? Because it opens up a conversation, beginning with, well, it doesn't stand for anything. It isn't an acronym, and so therefore an opportunity to explain outside, 4 words. For me, Coro is really an opportunity to experience, not through a classroom setting, not through a lecture, but through real-world experience, various sectors of what we refer to as public affairs. Public sector, private sector, media, labor unions, nonprofit organizations, etc., and understanding how, if you want to change the world, it all has to work together. That's kind of how I sum it up. But I also think of Coro, if you look at the logo and you see the O, it's not just the first O, a regular O. It's got the O, and then it's got the sort of near complete C surrounding it. To me, when I visualize that, the inner part represents what we know. The outer layer represents what we don't know. And then beyond that, it's opening up to what we don't know, one of the lessons that we learned in Coro. Coro has a tremendous amount of potential to continue to impact the region just by the sheer skill set that it embeds in all the fellows and all the program participants. Starting with the logic study, it almost feels for me like every job that I've had since Coro begins with trying to figure out the logic of what that new place is. My 8 years in the legislature, every year began with trying to develop my legislative priorities and my bill package for the year. And each and every issue, from public safety to transportation to budget to mental health, began with a mini logic study, on that issue to try to figure out the pressure points. Think of the hundreds and thousands of Coro alum in and around Los Angeles. If we're able to bring that experience and talent together to tackle some of the most significant problems of today, we'd have, I think, a great blueprint for how to move our city and our region and our society forward, whether it's public safety, whether it's water, whether it's transportation infrastructure, or designing the economy of the future. To the entire Coro family, thank you for the role that each and every person has played in keeping Coro alive and keeping Coro growing over all these years. Humbly, I'm just one of the participants that has benefited from those that have come before, that have developed the training and created the opportunities. I know it's helped me immensely throughout my political career, and I know that it's helped others on their career path, whether it's in the public sector, in media, or anywhere else. We got to keep it going. We got to keep it alive. But more than anything else, it's just appreciation. I can't tell you how many times I've gone back to the Coro experience and a lesson learned at the time, or a lesson that finally clicked for me just last week, that has helped me in my job in serving people.